We are ready.
Are you ready? Okay, so the time is now 6:30, and we are going to call to order the Parks, Wellness, and Recreation Commission meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Julie Cuellar,
Present.
Commissioner Erica Friend,
Present.
Commissioner Christian Garcia,
Present.
Commissioner Flor Sanchez,
Present.
and Vice Chair Sanchez Brooks is absent.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. Stand, please stand. Ready? Begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have any public statements that were emailed in?
No, we do not have any public statements tonight.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
if we can please proceed to approve the agenda first.
I'm sorry about
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I went to the wrong page. Okay. All right. Can we have the approval of the agenda?
I motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Chair Julie Cuellar,
Yes.
Commissioner Erica Friend,
Yes.
Commissioner Christian Garcia,
Yes.
and Commissioner Flor Sanchez,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Sanchez Brooks is absent.
Thank you, Now, we're going to go ahead and do I have a motion for the consent calendar?
All motion?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Chair Cuellar,
Yes.
Commissioner Friend,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Sanchez Brooks is absent.
Okay, we're going to move on to the administrative reports. Discussion on making a recommendation to revitalize the mural at Las Palmas Park. And who will be doing that presentation for us? Leo?
Madam Chair, at the last Parks and Wellness Commission meeting, the subject of mural and mural funds was brought up. Specifically indicating and talking about the mural at Las Palmas Park. Um, the recommendation was to put this item on the agenda um, to have a discussion with amongst the commission um, about the possibility of making a recommendation to revitalize the mural at Las Palmas Park. There was also a question um, on the status of the mural fund that was present in the last, I would say in the last 6 months. There had been a discussion about a mural fund that that had as an amount of $25,000 deposited into that fund. Um, I was able to get some information that council had discussed this item on a meeting, and the mural funds are no longer available. They were moved to other areas that the council consider a higher priority for our city. So, so this item is on the agenda in order for the commission to discuss the possibility of making a recommendation to revitalize the mural at Las Palmas Park, taking into consideration that the mural fund is no longer there, and also taking into consideration that there is a bigger project in the works at Las Palmas of revitalizing the park as a whole. And with that, we can answer any questions you might have. And we also have a representative from Public Works, Mr. Rodrigo Mora, that could also answer some questions on the park itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez? Any questions?
Actually, can we come back? I'm trying to put my thoughts together, if that's okay with
Want
you.
me to come back? to
Yes,
you? Okay.
thank you.
So we'll start with Commissioner Friend.
Thanks for the update. I'm sad to hear that the mural fund is no longer going anymore, or is it just been completely put into other funds?
The
Does
funds,
because I know for a fact that they were deducting taxes to put this mural fund together. Did that whole mural fund completely just disappear? Like they don't no longer collecting funds for murals anymore, or did it just get distinguished off and that was it and the discussion for the mural fund?
the information that we got was that the funds that were in that project area were transferred somewhere else. I think the council had discussed priorities as far as street repairs and street maintenance that they considered to be of higher priority. But as far as will that fund be replenished, I don't have that information with me. All we know right as of this moment is that there's no funds present at the moment.
Is there a way to bring up the discussion about that in councils to see if that's been just completely cut off already, or is this just going to start accumulating again? Is what I'm asking, I guess. How would we bring it up to council to see if it's possible to start, even if we don't do the revitalization in Palmas Park, is it going to be a mural fund that's going to get replenished now, starting from zero now? Is more of my question now.
There's two ways that you can do that. You can definitely, as a commission, ask council for further clarification or ask staff to get further clarification on that. And each one of you represents a council member. You're also more than welcome to approach them to see where their stand is on that issue.
I know we, as a commissioner, we did vote to actually get this going. So does it end here for Las Palmas mural, or do we have to start asking money through a different project in order for this to keep going?
So if I could make a comment, just aware because I do attend the city council meetings. And so I believe the funds, and you can correct me, Julio, if I'm wrong, the 25,000 was donated by was it by a council member, Sylvia Bellin, or where'd the funds come from?
The funds were a amount of money that the council as a whole decided to put to set aside for that specific purpose. So $25,000 were encumbered for the arts, specifically the mural arts in the city. And that could have been used in many different ways, given that that whatever project or whatever program that was going to be funded through those funds had the council's approval. As many of you know, the Cesar Chavez Learning Academies came with a proposal to use those funds for their school. Council decided not to approve that at that time, and also at that time they also decided that there was higher priorities for the city, and that's how it came to this point.
So they discussed it among among themselves when it came to those funds, and they agreed that there was priorities that were more important than the mural, and I think that's when they all voted to just take the money and place it elsewhere. I'm not quite sure exactly where they did it.
Sorry, the money went towards public works, right? Because I assume
would've-
for signage, right?
If it would have gone for street repairs or things like that, yes,
Oh,
it
so the
would have been
Public Works
public.
Department. Okay, so I'll stop for now, and then we'll move on to, I mean, do you have any more comments, or you want to have anything to discuss?
Well, I got my questions answered, but I guess it's more of like discussing whether we're gonna push on seeing if the mural funds would be replenished back into there now.
So we'll get,
In the near future, we can do this project that we all agreed that we wanted to do.
so we're going to move on to Commissioner Garcia. And then I think then we'll go back and then discuss what we're gonna recommend or what we can add.
So basically and maybe you guys have this information or not, I would like to know if the funds, and I remember, again, that council meeting, so that's fine. But if we had to start all over, I don't know if it got to the point where we could have like, I guess, what would it take for us, let's just say her, myself, the other commissioners wanted to do it just as just volunteer work. Like, is there what would it take to get to that place? You know, without costing the city any money, if we did want it to pursue this. That, I guess that's my question: is what would it take? Would it be? Would it have a meeting? Is that what the ad hoc is about, or we would create one? Because I would be interested in revitalizing it if it's I understand as a council they have a lot of issues and things they have to oversee, but I would be willing to invest some time in that if again depending on how we can get there. Thank you.
In that case, I would recommend that an ad hoc committee is created. And the reason for that is because, it's not just up to Recreation and Community Services. Public Works would need to be there because they, just to maintain the safety of the structure and basically they're the experts about, what is at the park, what happens at the park, and what would be needed for such a project. Uh, but let's say that you do create an ad hoc committee, and the ad hoc committee does recommend to take it on as a volunteer project. If and if you don't incur any cost to the cities, then yes, that could be a real possibility.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, we can discuss it. I mean, I don't want it to be like a thing that we're discussing every meeting if it's not going anywhere, because I've been driving around more and just I do see some things in the city that maybe we could do, right? But I don't know that would be the one thing. I would want to drive around and do more research on my own. But it is important. I think if it I think it would be something that I would be willing to invest time um, at some point. So thank you.
Okay, now my comment's going to be when we do have a master plan coming with the parks, right? At Las Palmas Park, do we,
Correct.
a large um, project coming out with plans there. I'm thinking that maybe we should complete what we're going to be, how long will it take us to complete, like, the master plan? And then that way, maybe everything is done, and it gives us time to consider how we can go about putting the mural done once we have the whole part completed. And then that way, they focus on what needs to be done, and then the last will be the mural at the end of the plan, and who knows, maybe there's extra money that will be left or something like that, that way they can contribute. So, do you know how long this could take?
The short answer to that is no. What I can tell you is that the process right now is the engineering company that was hired to kind of like move that project forward is looking at a revised scope of work. With the money that we have, something realistic that could be done to the park. When the community engagement process of the project took place, there was all this wish projects and items. And when we came to really looking at the cost of the project, we saw and we discovered that it was not really it wasn't realistic. Uh, um, the project was not realistic compared to the funds that we had available. So right now, there's a company that is working with Public Works, that is working with Recreation and Community Services, specifically with Ms. Maribel, and we're looking at different options of what can be done with the money that we have. There's going to be quite a few things that are going to be able to get done, um, but as far as a timeline, we don't we're not sure because it involves a lot of steps. It doesn't only involve getting the when we have a proposed new scope of work, it doesn't only involve getting it back to council, but it involves also getting the community involvement. And it also, most importantly, it involves getting that a new scope of work approved by the funding agency, which is the state. Once the state gives it like an okay, then we move on presenting it to council. So it's very hard to set a timeline right now.
Okay, so, I mean, I think that it should be redone, and I think that we should, look into it in our near future. Although I don't want to put a lot of time into something that's not going to go anywhere right now, unless we get, we do get the funds, and that's quite a few funds that we're going to need, which I'm sure we're all going to, have a part of working towards that. On this wish list for the residents, that was on the list, do you know if it was one of the choices was like a mural or whatever, like tennis courts or pickleball courts and,
It was not on the list of
Wasn't.
priorities.
oh, as a right. But they had to choose, and then we went by statistically which one was the priority. Was it
Right.
on the list to even be chosen as what the residents would like?
I just saw the list of like the higher priorities, but
Oh, okay.
Maribel, do you remember seeing it in any list?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember it being on the list of choices. But part of this process that Julio just explained, there's going to be a portion which is brought back to you folks as well. So sometime in either next month or probably August, we'll be bringing a revised scope of work for your revision as well as part of that process. So I don't know if you guys want to hold off for further discussion on Las Palmas till then. But off the top of my head, I don't believe the mural was a part of the scope or even brought up by the community at that time. But when we do bring that item back, we can also provide information on all the community engagement that was done um, during the design phase of the Las Palmas revitalization project.
Okay, so I don't know if you're all going to agree with me, but I think that maybe it is a good idea to maybe hold off till we move forward on Las Palmas and find out more information in regards to what direction we're going to move. But for sure, we do definitely want to do it in our future, but let's move forward on something that we actually can start doing. And then bring it back and reconsider it. But it's definitely going to be in our future to make sure that we do get, we'll work hard to make sure that we do get that done. So I'm going to maybe hold off on it until next month, did you say, where we can revisit this again or get more information in Las Palmas?
I would
what's
say
going
within
on?
the next 2 months, we should probably be able to have something to bring to the commission.
So my fellow commissioners, do you all agree? I mean, I don't know, we don't have to motion this because this is
And
just a
Chair-
discussion,
I
right?
think to clarify that we're bringing the information we're bringing back to you all is regarding the project.
Right.
And we'll see how the mural plays into that, if it was even a factor to begin with. I just want to make sure that we're
Right,
not
right.
expecting a
No.
full VAT report on murals. It's
Oh,
going
no.
to be on the revitalization project that we're
No,
trying to
on
do.
the Las Palmas Park.
Yes.
On the project, and then I think we need to take care of the park, what's going on with the park, and then for sure we're gonna do that, but let's get going with the park first, and then, well, this is gonna play a part in making sure that this is done at the same time that the park is, you know, either after it's done or while we're working on it, we'll work forward. But let's just I just want to make sure, say for instance, it was on the list and the residents just it wasn't a priority. Um, we want to make it a priority, but we just want to see if it was even considered, like it wasn't something that they actually had on the top of the list. But definitely do want to make sure that it gets done when the park, if it's going to get revised, we want to make sure that we have a nice mural, nice and new, and then we can move forward on what we're going to do when it comes to the funds. But I don't want to move forward on something that's we need the funds, and somehow we can work with our council members and see what we can do to maybe make that happen. So, we don't have the motion right, so this is just a discussion.
I did have a couple of questions if.
Oh, I'm
if-
sorry, I
You're good.
apologize.
Don't worry about it.
Council-
If that's okay with you, I mean.
Commissioner Sanchez, please, I forgot, I skipped over you.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay. Just a couple of questions, and that was as they were mentioning about taking it upon ourselves or an ad hoc, right, to see what we could do, right? Is it at all possible that this could be a project that I think we've discussed this last time, a middle school, a high school, a boys or Girl Scouts club could take on? Is that a possibility? Is that something that an ad hoc would have to do?
If the ad, it's basically well, first you have to create the ad hoc, and then you have to meet and discuss the direction. But yes, definitely, if you find a willing group, whether it's a school, whether it's a church, whether it's a service group, that is willing to take on a project like that, yes, it's very reasonable.
That sounds really good. I feel like a lot of times projects like this with the community or with an organization like that is very bonding, right? And then also I know that we're going over the budget right now, and definitely it's probably going to be like, pulling hair if we try to push this in there. But if we can't find an organization to help us with that and do this, that perhaps we just keep it in the back of our minds to add it again next year. Or like you mentioned, just after the construction or in the next couple of meetings to see if we can, what we can do. But I feel like partnering with another organization might just be our best bet to get this done.
And I think that's a great idea because, I mean, we can later figure out how, the ad hoc can go ahead and discuss schools or, art schools or children that can go ahead and volunteer, but we need to get the funding first. And once again, it could take some time, but don't want to move forward on something that's going to take us a while to like either next year where we do work to get the money or however we're going to work it. We'll discuss that at the point, get a little bit more information, and then we move forward. But definitely we're going to do it. I mean, definitely we need to get it done. So it's just, I hate to just like,
Yeah, we don't want to just say, okay, it's done, we couldn't
Yeah,
move forward.
right,
No,
right,
we
no,
want this. we want
definitely
this.
not. And we're going to be doing some work in that park. We need to have that mural done and nicely. And so right now, I think we'll just come back in a couple months or a month whenever you can bring that to us. Okay? No motion needs to be made or anything like that, right?
No,
Yeah.
you can just say that we'll table it for a future meeting.
We will table it for a future meeting. And I just want to thank Commissioner Friend for actually, having the passion for this. And we're definitely going to make your dream come true.
I was just
Thank you
mainly,
so much.
I was just mainly curious what happened to the funds.
The funds were,
Yeah,
the funds
I was following the meetings, and at one point it kind of just fizzled out, but I never knew exactly what happened to it. That's what what the discussion was about. But I'm hoping that it can be brought back. Is what I guess the main point is. Like eventually, since it sounds like it might be years before the Palmas is going to be completed, so that was kind of why the mural fund was kind of brought up, and then that was kind of why I brought it back to the table to see what happened to it. But then it was explained, and then now I'm just kind of hoping that it will kind of be revitalized back, because I was kind of assuming that public funds had their own funds for signages and stuff, that they didn't have to tap into a primarily mural fund, art fund, and never got a chance to be used. So that's why I was kind of like, well, wondering if that was ever going to be brought back, or did that ad hoc just die out with it too? That was kind of more mainly why I wanted to kind of go back to, because
What staff will do is that we'll include that information when we bring the
Bring it
project
back
back,
when.
yeah.
whether council plans to replenish that fund.
So yeah, that was just mainly it. And eventually it will happen, but I think we'll find a loophole if anything.
Right. So I just want to thank you for bringing that and having the passion, and we're going to go ahead and we'll make it happen in our future. Okay, so we're going to table it for a future meeting, and we are going to move on to the Cesar Chavez Memorial project update, renovation of the project update.
Um, Madam Chair, for the Caesar Memorial, I have to apologize, but the ad hoc committee, we haven't held our first meeting. There's a couple of reasons of why that's the case right now. The main one, though, is that at the present moment, the city is working directly with Pueblo y Salud and their Cesar Chavez Commemorative Committee in order to evaluate the current um, um, the current status of that area of the Cesar Chavez Memorial. Um, it has been brought up to the attention of the city by several residents that some of the original plaques that were at the memorial have been stolen. There's also other little areas that needed some attention, including the lighting. The director of public works, the mayor, the city manager, and representatives from Pueblo y Salud have met at that location a couple of times. They have talked about different ways of bringing it back to its initial glory. As of right now, they're trying to locate the records of the people that made the donations and that had their names on the plaques that were stolen, in order to recreate those plaques, basically. I know that the director of public works um, um, has also provided some information to the group on what it would take to fix the lighting at that location. I know that there has been also a desire from that group to turn the water fountain back on again, but we're looking at whether it can be turned back on, because I believe there was a concern brought up that during dry seasons, it kind of goes against a state law to turn a public fountain back on. So there has been a lot of movement. My desire was to get more information. That way I could share it with the ad hoc committee. But my apologies, some other things came up. The most recent movement is that we are going to meet with a representative of Pueblo y Salud. Um, I believe it's next week, to discuss two things. They want to discuss possible fundraising opportunities that they can do in order to benefit that memorial, and they also want to talk about the MOU, the existing MOU that it's effective until 2027. In that MOU, it stipulates that whenever Pueblo y Salud or the city want to promote or create activities that will benefit that memorial, then we work collaboratively. So we're looking forward to that meeting. I will keep in touch with the commissioners that volunteer for the ad hoc committee, and keep them updated on that information. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Thank you for the update, but no, I don't have any questions. I guess we'll continue to wait until something happens.
Commissioner Garcia?
Thank you for the update. No questions.
Commissioner Friend?
Thanks for the update. I'm actually looking forward to having this discussion because it's been going on for what, a couple, like 2 years we've been talking about this. So hopefully we can get an update really soon. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions. So we're going to go next on the agenda. We're going to go ahead and move forward to discussion on making a recommendation to identify a location for a dog park. I think that was brought up by Commissioner Brooks and Sanchez.
Yes.
Okay, so who's going to do that presentation? Is that going to be Maribel? Julio?
We can let Commissioner Sanchez start if she wishes.
Absolutely, yes. So the conversation that we had last time was that we wanted to speak to Public Works regarding the spaces that, or the possibility of, I guess, the spaces that each of the park has based on a previous analysis that was done. And we just wanted your input as to what was discovered back then, since basically we're all new to that process, to this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. So, the city doesn't have too many lots, but just at the top of my head, I can say that what used to be the former skate park on Callister and San Fernando Road, that's a spot that the city owns. That could be one, or it could be incorporated into one of the current parks that we have, or it can be incorporated into the Cindy Montañez Natural Park. I can't make those recommendations. I'm just giving you guys examples of areas where there could be one. Now, currently, the Rudy Ortega Park it's a natural park in a sense, but it also was created with being dog friendly in mind. That's why, if you notice, like the drinking fountains have a dog bowl at the bottom. So those could be some ideas.
And I know that we don't have funds for this, and we wanted to get an idea as far as what would be not just the funds, how much money it would be required to create something like that, but also I guess I'm not very sure what it's needed. I mean, is it fencing? Is it permits? Is it? I'm not sure. Based on what I've seen, they usually just have a fence around, and they do have water. Is that really all that would be required, just fencing?
Well, that just would be up to the commission, the residents, of what they would like. Yes, I also have gone to numerous dog parks, and usually it is just a fenced-in area with some water bowls. Although I have also seen some really nice fancy ones with like play features and so on. But that would be ultimately up to the resident or the ad hoc committee, or the recommendations made by numerous entities.
And as far as, well, I guess I could just imagine that it would be quite a few $1,000s for just for fence alone, right? Which we definitely is not in the budget. And if we wanted to bring this up another time, say another year when the budget is coming through, is this would we need to do another analysis in the parks to determine exactly which one the community would prefer?
Yes, in my opinion, there's quite a bit of things that have to be discussed. Not just like the fencing, the type of material you're going to use at the bottom, the legalities of it, the rules, the age group of who can go in there with what type of animal. So there's many things that makes it really hard to kind of just come up with a figure or an idea. Once we'll get recommendations of what they would like to see, that's when we can we can look into what the possibility of or the logistics of funding and the timeline and where we could put it.
If we wanted to get an idea of how much money would be required, would this be a request to staff to to do an analysis on that, or how would we go about that?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
For something like that, we would need to get direction from council in order to start something like it's called the design phase, basically.
Mm.
And council has been very adamant and very clear and very supportive in past projects about community involvement in when it comes to designs of areas that they're going to be using, of course. So that would need we as a department, public works, any department would need for something like that would need direct direction from council. If I may, if I may say it again, um, because Ms. Perez has mentioned it in the past. This idea has been brought up in the past, and that's how the open space survey started, and it wasn't identified as a priority by the community engagement process that took place. But again, what I want to say again is that all of you as commissioners represent a council member, so I would highly suggest that you speak with your council member and kind of measure what the interest of the council would be in bringing something like this. It's always helpful to do that because again we're a committee that provides recommendations to the larger group of council members, and you know, and it's always helpful to kind of take the temperature on this type of subjects when it comes to giving direction to staff and whether council would approve it or not.
I see. I know that the dog part was definitely one of those items that the community did want on the list that you provided, but it did not make it into the top 10 priorities from council, so it definitely didn't make it into a budget. It seems to me then that we might be at the end of the road this year at least with this project. It seems to me that we might just have to bring it back again next year when we're doing the budget. And yeah, that's my thought.
Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, both of you. Provide well, all of you, but especially with the facts and the presentation. I do appreciate Julio you kind of reminding us because I do try to engage with my council member because I imagine being here, serving for a long time and not discussing all these great ideas, but nothing comes to fruition. So I do think it is important to get that analysis from your council member. What really is priority? And that, yeah, and like I said, I did hear that there was a new dog park. I mean, in Silmar open. I forgot the location, but I imagine. Oh wow, it reminded me that we have been discussing this, and I would love one here too. But again, it's not something that my council member is just she's not going to prioritize. Now I don't want to speak for her, but again, based on what my discussions are. So I appreciate that, and I'll be willing to again at some point bring it back and discuss it. But at this point, like Commissioner Sanchez said, I don't know that we can do much. Right? Thank you.
Commissioner Friend.
Thanks for the presentation. But I think the last meeting that we had, it was bringing up the discussion of a pocket park being turned into a dog park. And I don't know, that was why we had the public work come in to maybe speak about that a little bit.
So I think the pocket park you're speaking of is the one on Calisher?
Yes.
Okay. So we have to look at the contract on that park because I believe it was built as a prerequisite for building. So technically, that park is still under, I believe, their control, so they maintain it. But the reason I say we have to look into it because it's either that contract is either close to expiring or it has, and so if that is the case, as I believe, the city will take over it, and so then we will manage it and maintain it. Right now, we maintain it only on special circumstances when it gets heavily vandalized and the company who runs it is not able to come in and fix it or repair it or clean it as fast as we would like. So then we go in and do that. But that's a site. It's a relatively small site, maybe the size of this council chamber here. But what is it? Yeah. So yeah,
I mean,
half
it could
an
be just
acre.
a small dog park, but it could be something.
It's better
Yeah.
than
I mean,
nothing.
can we get put it on the agenda to see if we can get an update on that, on if it's gonna expire or
Right.
if it
So
is gonna expire, when it's gonna expire? Because we
Right.
might be able to just build up funds if it's possible, slowly, if
right.
we have time. So maybe, I think that's why we kind of tabled it for this meeting. I'll leave it for the council, maybe to help us out, to give us an update on that. Pocket Park,
So I'll look on the contract and see when it becomes ours
cool.
or
Appreciate
or
it.
our responsibility.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
So, like usually when they built the project around the area, they needed open space, and sometimes they're required to take that open space close by, and I believe that's probably what happened with that park, right?
Right, and I don't want to speak because I don't remember exactly, but it may already be under. It may already be ours, but they might have the city might have extended the contract or extended the maintenance contract of it. So I don't know that fully. I would have to search, do some research and then get back to you guys.
So if you would please, but that's something
Yes.
that we did ask to, we did want to find out because we think that would be an ideal park for a dog park, even if it's a small one. That way you just throw a fence around it and then we're good to go. No, I'm just kidding. I know there could be a lot of legal things too. I mean, like, is the city responsible if a dog someone gets bit by someone's dog on the property that belongs to the city? There's a lot of technical things that we have to consider, but that would be an ideal park because if really not too many people will go there besides to abuse it, then it would be something that we can really consider even if it's small. So if you can look at that contract, because that building, the developer built the project there, and they most likely that was the open space that they had to provide for the community. And this is something that it may have not been a priority, but there's a lot of dog owners, and we love our animals, and they're family to us, and they need and deserve a little park in our city. So if we can if you can get that information back to us in the near future, I want to give you some time. I don't know if you want a couple months also, or do you think you can
Um,
bring it back?
no, that can be really. I can do the research relatively fast.
Okay.
A couple weeks maybe.
Okay.
I'll make a note of it.
Thank you. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely want to move on and first find out if we can actually do it there. That would be the ideal place. So we'll wait for that information. And I am going to appreciate all the information that you provided to us and coming in and attending our meeting.
you.
So we're going to move on to, once again, it's going to be Commissioner Sanchez discussion on making the recommendation to explore creating wildlife habitats in the city parks.
Yes, thank you. So in our last meeting, we also discussed the possibility of having a hummingbird habitat along, whether it's along with the monarch butterflies in Booty Ortega Park or possibly a different park, and what that would take. Is it just a matter of planting certain, specific flowers, plants, or do we need to have a big enough location? I'm not entirely sure what it would entail. I mean, I do know that it's certain plants, right, that we need. And since we already have something like that in the Rudy Ortega Park, the thought was that it could be possibly combined and have that for the hummingbirds.
Actually, if that were the Rudy Ortega would be a good fit for that plan or that project. Just because it's a little more wide open and it's a little bit it has a little more plants. What I would think that it would take, it would be, florals, something with the pollinating flowers, because that's what they like. They like the nectar in the flowers. Um, I mean, we can also subsidize by adding artificial nectars. Um, and then this is just, I'm saying this and just speaking based on my experience. I mean, I just went to Costa Rica maybe 6 months ago, and they had a location that just had an abundance of hummingbirds. And they, part of it just a bunch of natural flowers all over the place. They did have a bunch of artificial nectar, and they flocked to it. There were hundreds of them. That's just what I saw there.
So if we wanted, I mean, I'm sure, actually, I want to understand what the process, if we wanted to do something like that, is this something just asking Public Works to add those kind of plans?
I think that it's going to require more planning, because it's not just simply planting those plants. We have to, if we, let's say we go with planting hummingbird friendly foliage, we would have to make sure that the current irrigation system would support that. Where will we put it? We have to consider many factors like vandalism, and so on. And there's more to it, but there's some planning that would need to be created, and then it would some kind of a there has to be some kind of conversations or directive, so that we and with a level that you guys would desire, so that we can create a plan.
And in order for you to create a plan, there would have to be a request for staff, or is there a different process where we would need council to do that? Just for the presentation of what it would take to do something like this.
Just a directive to look into, maybe, let's say, stage 1, 2, or 3, or 3 different tiers, or some of that nature.
And so if we would have to specify what we want you to look into, like you said, stage 1, 2, or 3, and then just present it, and then from there on, we would vote on moving forward, or do we still have to get, a buy-in from council, because it is money spent on that?
Right. So yes, the director would have to come with the plan, the wish list, and the funding.
And wouldn't the funding also apply to the time spent making this plan?
It depends on the level of it. If it's something small, then maybe we can use staff. If it's bigger and it requires a contractor or some kind of builder, then it would be require extra funds. Or
If I may add something, we would also have to take into consideration that the city currently has an MOU with the Fernandeño Tatavian tribe for Rudy Ortega. So I'm sure we would have to coordinate with them.
And they can certainly be partner with them for some of the foliage that they are right now providing.
If they're willing to do that, yes, of course.
And then may I add also, Julio just made me think of something else. Even if we were to move that to another park, like they said, the Cindy Montañez, we also have an MOU with the funding source for that park. So we would also have to look at the parameters of that one.
Does the Cindy Montañez already have irrigation?
It had irrigation, but through vandalism, 90% of the park or more is without irrigation.
Oh, wow. That's sad. That's sad to hear. I didn't.
Irrigation at Cindy Montañez is also a goal for another project that Public Works is working on. But like Rodrigo mentioned right now, there's a lot of vandalism at that park right now, and anything that we would put up at this moment would be in high danger of getting vandalized.
I did see, I think it was in council that I heard about that park being revitalized at some point. There is a project for that, right? And so if, I guess one idea would be if we could have that in mind to include a habitat during the revitalization, but it sounds also to me that it might just be less costly, more convenient to have it in Rudy Ortega, because we already have another type of habitat for the butterflies, right? And for what I would like, it would be to see some sort of plan or idea for the Rudy Ortega Park. Yeah. Those are my questions. Thank you.
No questions. I think you guys were really detailed about it, so thank you.
Commissioner Friend?
I guess my question is, I know we want to do it at a park, and as we can see, it takes a little while to get it done. I think I was kind of thinking during the last meeting was we have pre-existing pottery containers throughout Maclay, right? Most of them missing roses from over the years. I think I had either suggested at last meeting that what is the possibility of just putting native flowers into those containers that are already pre-existing to the public works, and it already has irrigation or doesn't have irrigation. Technically, I think it doesn't need irrigation because it's supposed to be self-sustaining pottery where once it's watered, it stays pretty good for a while, and like succulents and stuff last pretty long. Anyways, I guess my question is, can we maybe in a more quicker way see if it's possible that Public Works plants native flowers in those containers instead of the roses that we have? Some of them are still there, but some of the pottery I've seen down Maclay are missing. It's just dirt. And I think I do remember having some people come in for public speaking about how some of the plants on the street are either dying or, I know we had a drought and stuff like that, but I guess my question is it possible to, instead of leaving them how they are and then maybe establishing some plants into them that are more hummingbird friendly, native plant friendly through orgs maybe if they want to donate and that they could maintain it,
Right, so,
like tree people or the Tatavian tribe. I know I think if they had maybe a location where they can actually keep maintaining, they can actually walk around and just, you know, spruce them up a little bit, but that's really up to, I guess, council if they want to really do something like that. But I guess to get a loophole towards having something of a hummingbird sanctuary, I think, though the park is a great idea, I think that what we're losing is that the point is that we're losing the hummingbird spaces. Is trying to bring back the spaces though that are covered in concrete to help native plants thrive on concrete barriers. And I think that's a good way to start. If we can't do it, I would really take it immediately, of course.
so on those pots you see on McClay, those were put in to try to slow down traffic and to try to keep big trucks from making rights and just to make it safer. Most of them do have working water irrigation, and the reason I believe that roses were chosen was because of the low maintenance, the drought tolerant type of species that they are. Um, we to change or add different type of plants, we just need a directive. I think the succulents is a great idea. They're very low maintenance. They require very little water. You only have to water them once a week. And if they are, that's, yeah. As an example, here in front of our Public Works building, we have some native water tolerant plants like salvias and rosemary and so on. And we have two hummingbirds that visit us every morning and afternoon. So even in an area like this, it's not very park. It's not a park. They're here every morning and afternoon if you see them. And the reason I'm familiar with them is because hummingbirds to me are um, they're dear because when I see a hummingbird, it's a like to me it's like an omen of my sister that passed, and so that was her favorite bird. So that's why I recognize and I see the two hummingbirds I see every morning and afternoon there. So I'm for it. I just need a directive and we'll do whatever we can as long as the staff and resources.
What kind of resources will you need? If Public Works, I'm sorry, I'm not very vague on how what all the stuff you guys do, but is this like a nursery you guys go to and just pick out the plants, or is this something that you guys already have?
No, yes, we would have to purchase whether we're from a nursery
Mm.
or any other. I mean, sometimes we can try to get donations. Like you mentioned earlier, the tree people. The only thing with the tree people right now is their funding was cut from the federal government or held. So even their availability to us, it's not the same as it has been in the past.
I think, I mean, that's pretty good information that we can kind of go by, just seeing if we can get donations. But I feel like that's something that's kind of heading towards the right direction, at least in the point of getting something done quicker than a couple of years. So, and in that way, at least that will help even both just make that street look a little bit better with just the not empty pots and stuff. And hopefully we can.
Right. So we try to stay on top of those pots. Unfortunately, theft, they get vandalized. Sometimes, like just was it yesterday, day before yesterday, a vehicle took out two of them. So then when that happens, we have limited resources. So sometimes we stand it back up, and then we have to come back and do the irrigation repair and the plants.
Well, at least they're doing their job, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean that's something that would be pretty cool to start, just to kind of show that even during covered concrete areas, that the hummingbirds can still have a pathway to going to the parks, and I think that's the best way to bringing back at least some wildlife to that street in the pots.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, especially those pots. I mean, we have to maintain them anyways. I'm sure the roses die or the plants die, and you guys need to go and replant them eventually. And to consider just the plants that we can attract the hummingbirds would be a wonderful suggestion. So if we can make a recommendation to the city council about the replanting the plants and using the
Can we not repot the plants, repaint the pots? Is
We,
that even thing too?
we do paint them because when they get struck, they leave tire marks and so on, and so we
Yeah.
do paint them every time that happens.
Cool.
And then we put a reflective band around the middle, so because they were getting hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we get a directive and they say change the scheme of it, or at least the roses, and change it to like a salvia. Salvia is a nice evergreen, and it puts out nice red flowers. You can also get them in different color flowers, and
Yeah.
those, from what I can see across the street, they really attract hummingbirds.
How many pots is that? Sorry.
I don't know, top of my head, I don't know.
What
It
is-
could be up to a 4 in that intersection.
So I have a question, Julio, in regards to, wait a minute, can we even be making recommendations for these pots? Because they're not parks and recs. We're kind of taking out of the park and putting them in some pots that are lined in the city. Is that our, can we do that on our commission, or is that another commission?
You can make the recommendation. Again, it always helps to check with your council member. But no, the recommendation can be made because either way, council if council was to consider this, council would be the body that would have to give the direction to Public Works.
So we would just make a recommendation to the council.
Correct. And by recommendation, I mean that you would get one of the council members to put it on the agenda so
Okay.
they can have a discussion on it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So then we can, thank you for your information. So we can move on and I'll talk to our council member. Okay, so let's see here.
And can I just say, that was such a brilliant idea, Commissioner Friend. Yeah, you're solving two problems. You're solving the issue of the empty things, and then also the birds and beautifying our city.
Yes.
Three things. So
I'm
thank
a
you.
multitasker.
That's a great idea. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to next on the agenda, which is discussion on making a recommendation to post signage with the QR codes on the major thoroughfares in San Fernando. Did any of our commissioners bring, was that? Oh, it was Brooks. Okay, so let's table it. Do we have an update or can we table it? Or do you, I mean, we can table it if we don't, but it was Brooks that brought it up. Or if you have an update, we can just move forward.
There's no update right now because, again, this would fall within the purview of Public Works. So if Commissioner Sanchez Brooks is not here to answer questions, I'm not sure how much information we can give right now.
Okay, so let's just table it.
Chair, this was brought up in council as well, the QR codes on, so I think they're already discussing it or will be? I'm
Oh, I
not
think we
sure.
already have, I think they have been doing it in
Yeah.
discussion. Although Brooks Commissioner Brooks is the one that brought this up.
Yeah.
So we'll just move
Okay.
forward and table it for,
Can I add a bit of clarification to, I believe Commissioner Brooks' request was, she loved the signs that this commission put together a year ago that are the ones that got placed at all the parks. It's a yellow sign, it has a QR code. Commissioner Friend could remember they helped with the design of it. We got it, our past director got funding allocated for it. We ordered them, Public Works placed them. And I believe the item came back to council because one of the council members saw this sign. And I don't know if she believes it's a little too small because of the location of where it's placed. But Rodrigo can attest to the reason that they're placed higher up is so that we deter tagging or vandalism of the sign. But like if you go around to Las Palmas, all the parks, they have either between 3 to 4. The bigger parks have about 4 signs posted around the park. The smaller parks will have 2. And then like Lopez Adobe has one. I don't believe we put one in the Pocket Park, but I meant to bring the sample because I still have an extra one, and they were made in English and in Spanish. We were trying to make the signs to be bilingual all on the same sign, but then the writing was getting too small, so we just ended up making 2 separate signs. And again, it has the top of my head, I believe it is the phone number for the dispatchers. It has the Public Works dispatch email, and then it has the QR code that leads you to download the My San Fernando app so you can easily report vandalism, damages. So it had all 3 options, and that was, to try to, I guess, work with folks that, like, if you're not computer savvy or or phone savvy, then you can actually call the
right.
dispatcher to report some sort of vandalism. And for those that do know email, they could email it. And for those that are familiar with downloading apps and submitting requests through the app, then they would scan the code. And I believe Natasha's or Commissioner Brooks's request was to have those signs placed in other
Everywhere,
areas that
right?
were outside of parks. And
Yes.
that's
Oh, that's
why
why.
Public Works, then that would go
Refresh my
under the
memory.
purview of Public Works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's why
because-
we tabled it because she wanted to see it more in the streets,
Yes.
especially
She mentioned like the mall area.
because we don't have. That's why I think you're here was to ask questions of whether we have something like that already in the streets, and I guess that's how the ball was gonna start going with this conversation.
Now, Public Works just can't put it on the streets just because it has to.
No, we would
come
have to
for
get
'em.
directive and told us specifically where. Now, just to shed a little bit more light, those signs are, I believe, they're like 16 by 12. So they're sizable signs. We, at the parks or on the streets, usually the legal height is 7 feet. So we can't really put them lower than that because then someone could strike it. But the vandalism and the tagging, yes, that's another reason why they end up a little high. But on the parks, I don't know the legality of it, but I know on the streets, it cannot be lower than 7 feet. Now, on the funding, because it would require a directive. I can't speak for the council, and I don't remember exactly what the funding was for, but certain funds were allocated for signage throughout the city. And so we are actually in the process of finishing a purchase order for a company so that we can buy traffic signs. We're going to start with the parks, then the civic area and the mall, and then work our way out to road signage or safety. If council or if we're directed to make some of those purchases with those funds, we can do that. We would have to be directed to do so.
Is that where the mural funds went to?
Is that, I don't know, is that the signage? Possibly.
I don't know that.
But they are being used for good.
There was some funds for signage through some other measures.
There
not,
is.
Not that one, but
There's a lot of different signs that I know.
enhancement sign project, I don't know, I'm not sure where that funding source came from.
I feel like we just went full circle.
But it was a different dollar
With
amount.
no
so-
mural in the end.
Okay, well, thank you for that information and that update, and we're gonna move forward. Let's see. I did get everybody right, yeah, okay. Okay, department programs and service updates.
Okay. It is that time to provide you with the updates and bring you up to speed to what's going on at the parks. And let me just bring up some images to share with you. And I would like to start off with informing you about the Memorial Day ceremony. This was held at the American Legion Post 176 in San Fernando, and this was on Memorial Day, Monday, May 26th. And this event was to honor local individuals from all military forces. With dignitaries in attendance, the event included a national moment of remembrance at 3 p.m., and all enjoyed great food. There was music and special guest speakers. And it was a great opportunity to honor those who have sacrificed so much in service of this country. And I wanted to mention this recognition. It's a special recognition because this is a member of our community. And on May 20th, the City of San Fernando Mayor Mendoza recognized Eduardo Torres Raya, or Raya, for his continued service to the city of San Fernando. Eduardo is an accomplished dog trainer with years of experience in basic obedience, service, and specialty dog trainer. As you can see him there with his Belgian Malinois. He's a great trainer, and along with Las Palmas Park music instructor Violeta Quintero, Mayor Mendoza presented Eduardo with a certificate of recognition for his contributions, including volunteering and supporting city programs, such as the annual Vet at the Park event. He's helped me out when we've had veterinarians stop by and provide services to the community. He also regularly volunteers assisting Violeta with her music class, and also volunteers at the parks doing park maintenance. So Eduardo is recognized, and I personally know him. He's very kind, respectful, and a generous member of the community who exemplifies a true commitment to improve the well-being of the community. And another recognition, I think I mentioned this before, Older Americans Month was in May, and our honoree is a longtime club member, Jose Garcia. On May 22nd, the County of Los Angeles hosted a really nice event. It was the 60th annual Older Americans Recognition Day, and this was held at the Omni Hotel in LA. It was a really nice place. There was a great luncheon, and lots of individuals were recognized from different centers. We were honored to participate. Soledad and myself were invited by Mr. Garcia, which I thought was very nice. He didn't have to invite us, but he did include us. And he's been just so helpful with the senior club. He's been a trip coordinator, a longtime volunteer at the park, and he's just a really great example of what we should do to help and improve the lives of seniors. And speaking of seniors, on May 16th, we had our annual Senior Fest. And this is routinely held at Las Palmas Park. This event is the biggest event that we hold at Las Palmas Park. And the highlight this year is, the theme, is Flip the Script on Aging. All the participants enjoyed a continental breakfast. We had doc talk sessions with medical professionals, free health screenings, entertainment, raffles, and more. The event honored older Americans and challenged aging stereotypes. This was a great opportunity to highlight the many contributions that our senior community provide to us. And our seniors continue with the excursions that we offer. They took an excursion to Pancho Villa Restaurant in Fontana. That was Saturday, May 18th. About 35 seniors were transported by motor coach to Fontana and enjoyed a great champagne brunch and wonderful, great live mariachi music. This is one of the more popular events, and sometimes they do ask that we offer this a couple times a year. As you can see, it's a really fun time, and I understand that the mariachi is really talented. So it looks like they had a good time. And on Saturday, June 7th, we offered an excursion to Catalina Island. About 50 participants enjoyed taking a trip to the island and enjoyed the beautiful scenery, including the beaches, shops, hotels, restaurants, and more. We do have a new trip list for the remainder of the year. Some of the upcoming excursions are a trip to Solvang. We have the upcoming Avocado Festival, Las Vegas, and other trips. So if you have any interest, you don't have to be a senior, but you can give us a call or stop by the lobby and pick up a list. And moving on to our teens, the TBC program hosted a successful Go Green workshop, and this is in partnership with Tree People. This was held on May 13th, and approximately 10 teenagers participated. This was a hands-on event, learning the fundamentals of seed planting and the environmental impact of green spaces. Each participant had the opportunity to plant seeds, and each one received an oak tree to take home. So I thought that that was a really good thing to teach youth about environmental awareness and just an opportunity to get their hands a little dirty. And looks like they had a good time there. Also, I wanted to highlight the Pride Month flag raising ceremony. This was held on June 7th, right outside City Hall. And it was an opportunity to increase awareness, acceptance, and inclusion of LGBTQ individuals. And day camp is starting on Monday, June 16th. This is for children ages 5 to 13. It's an opportunity for kids to spend the summer getting to work on arts and crafts, outdoor sports, swim time, cooperative games, and some field trips. There's still space available. If you'd like to register your child, you can go to our website or you can give us a call at the parks. And just highlighting some of the sports that for our youth that we have going on. There's karate, martial arts, tennis, baseball clinics, and baseball leagues. So there's plenty to keep the kids busy during the summer. And for adult fitness, we've got open gym for pickleball, also open gym for volleyball. We've got Zumba, yoga, and more. If you're interested or looking for something specific, give us a call. We have a lot of other activities going on, but it's kind of hard to get everything on these reports here. And I did want to highlight that we have this new activity coming soon. This is a stretching and strengthening class. We do have free demos before the activity starts in August. The demos are going to be held on July 23rd and the 30th. And that's Wednesday morning at 10:30 at Las Palmas Park. And please do save the date. We have our annual Independence Day Festival coming up right on the 4th of July. So you can stop on by. It's going to be at Recreation Park, and we've got a great drone show, and we expect a good turnout. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. So please mark your calendars. And this is an item that was brought up at the last commission meeting by Commissioner Garcia. So thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Garcia. I just wanted to remind everybody with the hot weather that's coming up, cooling centers do activate as soon as the temperature reaches 95 degrees or more. And cooling centers are at Las Palmas Park and Recreation Park. You can come in and stay in an air-conditioned facility. Also charge and use electronic devices, and you can obtain bottled water. Once we are activated, we do open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And this is also a good opportunity to remind the community to please stay hydrated. Find a cooling center when you're feeling hot, when you're working outside, wear loose-fitting clothing. And of course, please don't forget our pets. Please don't ever leave pets or children in your car, not even for a minute. And lastly, just a reminder to please download the app. Anything that you see throughout the city, anything you want to report, this is the best way to get things taken care of quickly. And then you are informed once the item has been addressed. I've used it myself quite a bit, and it's been very successful. And with that, we can take any comments or questions.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Yes, I have a couple of comments and questions. My question is, the tennis court on Pioneer Park, is that something that as a community we're able to access? And if so, how do we get access to it?
Go. Yeah, we used to lock them up and unlock them every day, but I want to say it was right before Christmas, like late fall, winter. We just started leaving them unlocked. I hope you're like we were responsible for locking them,
Right.
and Public Works would unlock them. But it was to deter again
Yes.
vandalism or I mean, you can't really deter misuse of the courts because if they're unlocked and a soccer group wants to go in there and kick balls around, they're gonna go in there during open hours. But you show up and you you play, and then our classes are held there on Saturday mornings.
Great, thank you. That's such a beautiful court. I used to take classes there with my daughter, but I was sad that I couldn't use it because it kept getting locked. So thank you for that. Yeah, um, I I love that you guys are recognizing the community members. I think that's one of the greatest things that you guys. I mean, all of the events that you could put together are amazing, but recognizing the community members is a boost of confidence, not just for them, but for us to see it in our community. How amazing our neighbors. So thank you for that. I also wanted to, sort of say how sad it is to see Cassell's Music Store leave. It's been on my mind since I heard about it, and it's just so sad. My kids learned to play the violin there when they were like 5, 6 years old, and it's sad to see that. And then lastly, I love all the community events that you put for the seniors, and it just got me thinking maybe we could be the second blue zone in California, right? There's one down south because there's just so many good activities that you put together for the seniors that who knows, right? So thank you for that. Thank you for such a great program that you have going on.
Commissioner Garcia?
No questions, just a couple comments. I love the presentation. Like I said, you guys are always. I mean, I've been in this city, I guess, a decade now. I'm not originally from here, but I love just the community feeling and, like Commissioner Sanchez said, the things that are going on here. So, thank you.
Commissioner
Um,
Friend, I'm sorry.
um, Great presentation. I always love the photos because everybody looks so happy, and I know just seeing the senior citizens happy is what kind of makes me like very proud that you guys do a lot of workshops pertaining around senior citizens. So being that I lost my grandmother, it makes me wish that I can take her to these events. But as for the other events, I'm looking forward to the 4th of July drone show, and good job. And I'm looking forward to the next future events.
You. Um, Everything's great as always. And I want to say, I know Eduardo too. He volunteered for the cancer relay, and he was our Spider-Man. He put on the costume and he was out there engaging with all the children. Excellent. He's just a wonderful guy and always volunteering and giving a good heart of giving in. Mr. Jose Garcia. Wow, it's just great that we do recognize our residents. I do have a couple questions, and if we can just get some answers. I did send you some pictures. If you can put them on the screen so I can ask Julio about them. We can just start off with whatever one you're going to put on, or unless you put them all on one. Okay, so a resident had sent me these pictures and was kind of concerned about the balcony with the missing wood on the top here of the banister, and you can barely see it because it's at the top. It's missing. See right here. Um, do we know if anyone actually has access to that balcony at all?
No, no one
Just for
should have,
safety hazard?
no one should have access. As a matter of fact, the stairs on the exterior going up to that balcony were closed off so that people wouldn't go up there. Um, I'll be honest with you, that's the first I've seen that picture. Although, because this is a historic home, we don't have the liberty to just make repairs. Has to go through a process. Because some of that wood there is over 100 years old, and it may require a certified historical repairman.
Okay.
So, although that column that's right there, that second one, I made that column about 20 years ago.
Really? Wow, you did excellent.
Before the new rules came in.
Oh, wow. Okay. So just was just concerned about that. Wasn't sure, like if
If I
it,
can add a little bit to the missing tooth up at the top,
yeah.
I actually have that piece of wood in my office.
Oh, you
That
do?
that piece of that decorative
Oh, okay.
balcony. Yeah, I had happened to go by the house. I forgot what it was. I had to go leave there, and the piece was on the floor. But again, based on this process that we have to go
Right.
through that Rodrigo mentioned, it's not as easy of me just giving him that rotten piece of
And put
wood
it on
because
there.
the wood is pretty rotten. So I don't even think it's salvageable, but we do have it with us.
Okay.
And he's right. Like no one really has access to that balcony other than staff. But um, I really don't like to go up there
Um,
myself anymore.
And then if I may add, unfortunately, last week we had a vandal also go there, and he took out another one as you go up the stairs to the right. He took out two that we have to put back on there, and also broke the display case at in the new restroom, and broke the window into the archive storage area. In addition to the Virgin Mary, he opened the gate
Okay.
and broke it.
So if you can switch the pictures, those are a couple pictures that I actually have. And I was going to ask exactly what happened. Did we actually have a burglar? Someone break in?
So one of our staff members, David, that's his routine every morning. So he went there and noticed that everything was broken up. So he called me and Richard. We went to assess it, to make a report, take pictures. Um, and then, of course, because we're right now in the process of creating a task force, a parks and community development task force to try to mitigate some of this vandalism. I called the police. They came over, and then we spotted the individual who was arrested for the vandalism. We can't, it still has to be proven, but he was to the right of that building on top of the restaurant,
Oh, wow.
right? So he was apprehended, and so that's what happened there.
Okay. And then that was the same with the Virgin Mary. So she
Right.
disappeared.
And if I could take credit for that, I did install that Virgin Mary about 20 years ago, also.
Oh, so she's gone. They took her.
It's broke. We're gonna see if we
Oh, they
can try to
broke it.
put it back
Okay.
together. And unfortunately, that's the second Virgin Mary that we've put up. It lasted almost 20 years. The
Wow.
previous one, I wasn't sure how long it lasted, but it was one of the originals.
Did this all happen at the same time then? Around the same time? The same?
Yes,
Okay, it did.
yes.
Okay, so
Same.
that's all I was just concerned. They send them to me. I said I would find out. I did not, I didn't have answers for them, but I told them I would
We did
send these over.
like the broken glass. You see the window there. We did we boarded it up temporarily because we have to make sure it's secure. But we do have an appointment with the glass company to come out and repair that.
Oh, okay. And that was with the other one.
And if I may add, yeah, unfortunately, it takes one person that is not all there and caused all this damage to such a significant part of our city. I do have to thank publicly Public Works for acting right away, and of course our police department for being able to catch this individual. Um, Last thing I heard that he was arrested. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to bring charges on the vandalism though, because there was no witnesses. But at least there was a charge of trespassing.
Yes.
This location doesn't have cameras as many others do.
No.
Information. It's just a shame we had our, it's very important to the city. It's so old and these things cannot really be replaced, and
Right.
we don't want them to continue like him. Well, thank God they caught him. Hopefully we don't have it again, but
Are you guys
yeah.
gonna put glass again? Just curious, sorry, off
Yeah.
topic.
Yes, they did. He
Yes.
just said they were
Yes.
gonna.
Is it for historic reasons or is it just because?
No, so the glasses was the display case and the new building. There was there was shown there,
Oh.
and then the window itself. They broke the window, so that's
Oh,
glass.
Can
Now,
I?
we could go with plexiglass
That's what I
or
was gonna
Lexan.
suggest, yeah.
Unfortunately, that turns with sun exposure, UV exposure, it turns frosty and you can't see into it.
That was my gonna make a suggestion, but never mind.
Well, thank you so much for that information and everything Public Works does. I love your guys. They're hard workers all the time.
Thanks.
And they so appreciated everything that you all do.
Thank you.
And 4th of July, look forward to the 4th of July and just make sure that we have adequate parking. I mean, not parking, excuse me, traffic enforcement. I don't know, do we need to add that to like an agenda to make sure that we have, oh wait, I'm sorry. That's safety and transportation probably, right? Wrong commission, sorry.
Yes.
That's on my other commission. Okay, so, yeah, I guess that's it.
Chair, can I ask one more question?
Yes.
This that we received, is this being placed in everybody's, all the residents' doors, or how's this? What?
Yes, that's the plan. It's being it's going to be made available at our community centers. Actually, we already have them there, but the plan is to take it citywide. That's part of the plan that involves Public Works, PD, Community Development, our department, and reminding our community that fireworks are illegal, and just to be aware that we have veterans of war that might be a trigger, and also, of course, our pets that they get highly affected by this.
This is great. Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing one with us.
Okay, so once again, thank you for coming down, all the information that you have given us. We look forward to the feedback in regards to the park, the contract for the Callister Park. Okay. And
So when I get that information, I'll send it to Julio and they can forward it to you guys.
yes, that would be nice. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjourn tonight. Thank you so much for everyone being here.
Pardon me, Madam,
Oh. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, are there any staff or commission comments?
I think what Ms. Linda means is if there are any commissioner comments. We were doing the
Oh, the staff comments.
staff presentation, the staff
Oh,
communication.
I'm sorry. I
and,
thought that was we just kind of threw it in together. So,
No, but it's up to you. You can ask the commissioners if they have any additional comments.
No additional comments. Thank you for a great meeting. So, yeah.
Additional, thank you.
Commissioner Friend?
Just one. I just wanted to just shine light on a festival that I attended a week ago for DI Chuchas, which is our community cultural bookstore. They did a wonderful job of supplying free books to all the students and kids that came in, additional to all free workshops. And I just want to shine light because this is the 20th anniversary of their Celebrating Works Festival. And it was a great festival, a lot of happy kids, music, food, plant-based food. Yeah, I just wanted to do a shout out. And hopefully, if you guys have time, check out the bookstore. They do a lot of good workshops for kids. And yeah,
Where's the bookstore at?
it's right next to the Food for Less off of Glen Oaks.
Great. Thank you. We are now adjourned.